Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on today's offers training. I am so excited to kind of go deep into the offers that you can expect to receive at Zoodealio, uncover some sellers' motivations, and give you some real tangible action items. So when you're done with today's call, you can go out into your market and really affect change. Now, I know that things are very different in the real estate world. And I know that we are seeing astronomically high interest rates, at least for over the past couple decades, I can say. And I know that most sellers are kind of stuck. They're in those golden handcuffs, so to speak. And so I think that today's training is going to give you a lot of clarity on, despite all of the circumstances that are happening around us, we can go out and take clear action towards a goal of really serving and supporting our community at the highest that we're capable of. All right. We are going to talk about what sellers really want in today's market. We're going to go through how a seller can flip their own home. It's the coolest thing. I absolutely love this product. And every time I see it play out, I get so excited. And we're going to talk about 3 interesting ways you can use the cash offer hook in your business. I'm also going to leave you with 3 tangible things that you can do this week, scripting everything so you'll be all set with all of that. Again, excited to just be with you and connect and just share what we know and what we're seeing and give you some encouragement, because times might be a little bit different now, but what I know is that when there's uncertainty, when there's change, what people need most is an expert advisor. And you are on today's call because you are such for many people in your sphere and many people that don't even know you yet. So excited to just encourage you and give you some guidance along the way. We're going to dive into what sellers really want. And I was on Reddit last night, just kind of scrolling through some of the real estate forums, and I found it shocking how many people are posting to random strangers on Reddit for real estate advice. In fact, it's so frustrating because I would rather these questions be bubbled up to their local real estate advisor. Maybe they don't have one. Maybe they don't want to reach out for fear of that person being too pushy. Whatever the reason, what I'm finding is that many people all across the country are posting on Reddit for real estate advice. And a lot of the posts sound exactly the same. So here is one that I found, and should I sell my house or should I keep it as a rental? And the person goes into their reasons and they get tons of different advice on that. Here's another one. Should I sell my home or should I rent it? Right? Here's another one. How can I maximize my current 3% mortgage? So basically want to move, but they have this irresistibly low mortgage rate and they're wondering how they can make this all happen. Here's another one. I don't know what to do. We want to grow our family, but can't stomach losing our 2.85 interest rate. The house is too small for kiddos. So what the takeaway is sellers are really wanting an advisor. They want someone right now that can step in and give them all of their options and allow them to make the best decision for them. Now, here's another interesting thing, and I found this on Google Trends. What I always do is check Google Trends for sell my house, and then what I also uncovered is that a rising search term alongside selling your house is the cash offer. Unfortunately, it's also open door. And what this means is that when people are searching out the search term sell my house, they're also Googling cash offers. They're also Googling open door. So why is that? Well, it's because these are convenient and easy options, and sellers also want certainty. Almost 9 in 10 sellers said that the certainty of an offer not falling through is extremely important to them. 74% of sellers said that they want to sell as fast as possible, and over half of sellers surveyed said that receiving a cash offer was really important to them. So they want their options. Again, we can see it from Reddit, from their unfiltered raw posts that they want options, they want to explore these things. And then we can see from the surveys and the data that they're also searching out cash offers. They're also searching out convenience, certainty, speed, cash. These are buzzwords to sellers. Now, do they always go with these options? No, they don't, but they're curious about them. And what I know is that oftentimes curiosity and seeking out the answers to that curiousness can lead to buying a home, selling a home, all sorts of things. And so are you going to be the one that scratches that itch of that homeowner that's considering making a move? I hope the answer is yes. I mean, that's what it's all about. We are here to serve and support our communities. We're here to help people make good decisions that are their best for them in their circumstances. Here's something else. And I show you this because when we talk about flipping your own home and how sellers can do that and maximize the return on their investment, what we know from NAR's study of homeowners that sold their home, what they want from their real estate agent, one of the top things is helping with repairs. They don't know what to do. They don't know what needs to be done to have the biggest bang for the buck. And so they want that expert advice from you. That's one of the things that they look for. And so because of that, when we talk about this suite of offers and options that you have available to you through Zoodealio, we satisfy all of this curiosity. We allow you to bring that homeowner into your fold, and then you from there get to advise them on all of the different options that are available to them. So in the offer dashboard, when a homeowner comes through, or when you go into your back end and you submit that property, or maybe you're using Zapier to connect your ZBuyer lead source or other lead sources to cash offers. Basically, when they come in and you get the offer dashboard, you're going to have a suite of offers. Now, you'll see the list on the market tab. And right now, that is a manual entry from you. And so in order to get the list on the market to show up, you have to go in and enter that as an offer. Now, the good news is we're doing a massive update to Zoodealio within the next week and a half, and we're going to have a very prominent button inside your offers page from the client details that's going to say enter list price. So we're making that more prominent for you, but that is how you get that tile to appear, and you go in and put that number in. Why? Well, we don't know what you would bring that home to market for. And rather than us guessing, we leave that to you to go in there and add that information. Now, what you're also going to get is you're going to get the cash offers. And here's the reality on the straight cash offers right now. They're low. Like, that's it. There's no other way to really give that any justice. They're low. And I can tell you that the acceptance rate on straight cash offers is extremely low. And so the reason why I want to spend most of our focus today on the Cash Plus offer and on flipping your own home is because that is what we are seeing accepted just the most across the country, across all markets. It transcends everything. Speaking to the cash offers though, I believe they will get better. Maybe not in the near short term. So maybe as we look to the next 6-9 months, maybe they won't improve over the next 6-9 months. Maybe even it takes 12 months. Maybe even it takes 18 months. I'm not quite sure. But what I know is that the institutional buyers, the funds, the buy and hold investors, they will be back in the market. And right now there's just so much economic uncertainty that they're holding off. And if they are going to acquire properties, they're going to acquire them at a steep discount because some experts are still predicting that we could see prices decline a little bit. Will they? I don't know. I mean, last time I checked, that crystal ball I ordered on Amazon hasn't arrived yet. So who the hell knows, right? But what I do know is that the single family home as a rental has become a staple of the asset class. And so because of that, we know that they will be back. Now let's talk the Cash Plus offer. And we're gonna go do a deep dive into this in just a moment, but the Cash Plus offer is a Cash Plus offer. It's a cash offer with all of the upside of the open market. And it is a structured sale. And we're gonna go through that here in just a moment. We also have the Sell Now, Move Later offer. And essentially, the best way to think about this is it's the Cash Plus offer with a flexible 12-month, month-to-month lease back on the home. And then you will also see the Fix It and List It. And the Fix It and List It essentially is that cash plus offer with repairs. Okay, so we're gonna go through the easiest way to move. As I'm looking through the offers, like I mentioned, you got your cash plus, or you got your cash offer, you got your cash plus offer, you got your sell now, move later offer, and that's just a quick recap of what each of those are. We're gonna go into how the cash plus offer works, and we're also going to go into a really, I think, fun and interesting angle on this cash offer. And so what this offer is it's all the certainty and convenience of a cash offer with the homeowner never leaving too much money on the table. It allows them to benefit from the open market. And when I look at this offer, I think it is just a win-win-win for everybody. And the reason this offer was created was because we saw homeowners selling their houses to cash buyers and leaving a tremendous amount of equity on the table. And we thought there has to be a better way. And so in talking with our capital providers, we were able to come up with a strategy to offer a homeowner a true full market value cash offer. Now, it is a structured sale. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But the really interesting angle and how I want you to be thinking about this is you can use the cash plus offer for homeowners to have a no out-of-pocket home improvement sale. And they can maximize the return of their equity. And in a simple way, they can flip their own house. Maybe you follow some wholesalers on Instagram, or maybe you know some wholesalers in your market. And what I know is that they make good profit. They usually take a very huge chunk of equity as their margin. And, I get it. They're taking on the risk of buying the home. They're taking on the risk of rehabbing the home. They're taking on the risk of what is that home going to sell for on the open market. And so there are tangible costs to all of that. But with this cash plus structure, your homeowner can flip their own home for a fee. That's it. No margin made by the buyer on this sale. And I find it so interesting and exciting. I mean, you see, I get excited about talking about it. As I mentioned, every time that one of these comes through, it is just so rewarding to see a home that is brought back to life, put on the open market looking amazing, and then, of course, being sold to a buyer that's getting the benefit of having this beautiful home. And then just the cherry on top is that homeowner makes all of that upside on the open market. And so they get the benefit of those repairs being made. All right, so how does the cash plus work? Well, I've broken it down for you in 3 steps. And the first one is the buyer will make what they believe to be a full market value offer to the seller. Now, this is going to happen automatically, and we are using pricing algorithms to generate that number. And so the takeaway is if you see a cash plus offer returned or a sell now, move later offer returned, because as I mentioned, essentially the difference between those is the sell now, move later allows that homeowner to rent their home back. So if you see those numbers returned, and if you feel that we missed the mark, if you feel that that offer is too low or even too high, we're going to need you to communicate that with us. And we'll take a manual review of that property. And the reason why is because we want to get it right. We want to hit it right. It's not going to do anyone any justice if it's too low or too high. And so if you get one returned and you feel that that number is off, please push back on us. There are a variety of ways you can do that. You can call our offers department. You can schedule a Calendly with our offers department. You can chat with them through your platform. You can email them, offers@zoodealio.com. Just whatever works for you, how you like to communicate with us. I find that to be the best way to look at this. And so if you feel like that number is off, please communicate that with us. Now, how are we able to offer that homeowner a full market value cash offer? And the reason we're able to do that is through the holdback. And what the holdback is it's a portion of the seller's available equity that is held back from the first sale and returned to them once you resell that home on the open market, depending on what that price sells for. And I'm going to skin that out for us in just a moment. And then the fees are very transparent. So your homeowner would be looking at a resale fee and a service fee. And I'm going to dissect those here in just a moment. Let's dive into the full market value cash offer. I talked a little bit about this already. And so I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but the takeaway is that now that we have instant offers, you're getting that instant cash plus return, instant sell now, move later return. If you see that number and it appears to be off, ask for a manual review. Also, let's just also realize too, if you present this offer and the seller says something to you like, oh, well, if my initial payout was $5,000 more, this offer would work for me. Communicate that back to us. We are in the process of being a deal maker, not a deal breaker. And so if there's a way that we can make it work, we're going to try. And our offers team is just phenomenal at that. And they will definitely take any feedback that you provide as that local expert and factor that into the numbers. We also talked a little bit about the holdback already. I'm going to kind of reiterate what I said before. This is a portion of the seller's equity that is held back until that home is resold on the open market. And the fees, we talked about the service fee. Currently, the service fee is 6%. Currently, the resale fee is 7.5%. And I say currently because with all of this change, if capital providers decide that they want different returns, different margins, depending on risk, these numbers could change. Now, we've been really fortunate that we haven't seen these numbers change in months over months. I think it's been 9 months since we've seen any change on these numbers. And so I think that we're still in a great spot. And these are the fees at this time. If they change, of course, we will communicate that to our member base, but that's what they are now. Now, I think it's important to unpack what these fees represent. So the 6% service fee, this covers a multitude of things, okay? So this just isn't pure profit for the buyer. What this service fee covers, it also covers, in addition to their capital costs, they are going to take on all of the homeownership costs. And so once they buy that property, now the buyer's responsible for the taxes. The buyer's responsible for the HOA. The buyer's responsible for all of the interim utility payments and lawn maintenance and all of that. And so basically, once the property is purchased by the buyer, they're going to take on all of those homeownership costs, and those costs are going to come out of this 6% service fee. So as you can imagine, if a property is purchased and resold and maybe there's some repairs done after, and the buyer ends up holding a property for 120 to 150 days, a lot of that gets used up in the homeownership cost. And so it's not just a pure profit center. I guess my takeaway is this offer structure is really quite amazing. And when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't cost the homeowner that much more than a traditional listing. Here's why. Because the 7.5% resale fee, it covers all of those kind of traditional real estate costs. So it's going to cover, of course, your commission, and it's going to cover the buyer broker's commission, and it's also going to cover the closing costs on the second sale. Commissions, very important. And one of the questions that we get asked the most about commissions is, are they negotiable? And the answer is, of course, yes, absolutely. And I can share with you that we see agents that discount this commission, and we also see agents that charge the homeowner more. So here is what is baked into every deal. So out of that 7.5% resale fee, you are paid 2% when the buyer purchases the property from the homeowner. Now, the neat thing is that the buyer is going to use you to relist that home and bring that home to the open market. And so when they do that, they're also going to pay a 4.5% commission, 2% to you, and 2.5% to the buyer broker. Now, if it ends up being a situation where the buyer comes in unrepresented, or if it happens to be a situation where you're representing the buyer as well, then of course that 2.5% would go to you. And so those are the fees. I want to just I want to ask you, are you thinking that maybe these fees are too high. It's a valid thought. And sometimes, especially when they're lumped together and you see the 7.5 and the 6, and you're like 13.5% in fees. Oh my gosh. And some people cut and run because they don't take the time to actually learn what these fees represent. But I want to share something quickly with you. And I shared this on a coaching call a couple weeks ago, so I'm not going to go too in depth on it, but I have to share with you Opendoor's margins. Because see, here's the thing. Us realtors are out there thinking that, oh, sellers don't want cash offers or sellers don't want to pay these high fees. And the reality is people willingly sell their home to Opendoor, OfferPad, other cash buyers every single day, even in this critically low inventory environment. And so because of that, I want to show you the data. The data speaks for itself. And what this is Opendoor's gross margin by their purchase cohort. What does this mean? This is the percent at which, when that home sold, what they bought it for versus what they sold it for, what was that margin? And as you can see, depending on the month, Opendoor had some very healthy margins. Now, one thing you do not see here is their service fee, and that's 5%. We know that. And so any of these numbers, I want you to look at this number and I want you to immediately add a 5%, okay? And so for instance, for homes that they sold in July of 2023, they had a 13.7% margin plus their 5% service fee. That is 18.7%. That is what a homeowner gave up on average to sell their home to Opendoor, 18.7%. That's insane, right? That's a lot of coin. And here's the takeaway. They weren't even represented. Most of them went to Opendoor themselves without an agent. And so this didn't even pay a local listing agent or a local buyer's agent, right? Hey, here's the other thing. The repairs. That is a huge question mark when dealing with any cash buyer, is what did they gouge the homeowner during the inspection period? What percent, what dollar amount did they take from the homeowner as a repair cost? And that is not reported here. And so repairs aren't reflected into this, nor is their service fee. And if you look at March, look at that one. March, 18.7%. You add on 5%, you're at what, 23? You add on maybe 1%, 2% for repairs, you're at 24, 25%. So you think that 13.5, including your commission, including the buyer broker commission, including closing costs, including interim costs of holding the house, including interim utilities, taxes, HOA, is too high? No, it's probably more or less, you haven't unpacked it. So I'm glad you're here today, and I am glad we're doing that together because, see, I believe that people want different solutions rather than a realtor showing up at their house, doing a quick tour to build rapport and see everything that the seller did, and then sitting them down at the kitchen table and saying, hey, here's the thing, I can list your home on the open market. And I got a great marketing plan. And I got a great, 322-point follow-up checklist for the escrow process to minimize, fallout. Homeowners want more. They want an advisor. They want someone that's going to sit down with them and say, okay, here's an option. Maybe you keep your home because you have a 3% interest rate. And here's what the rent would look like. And here's what your costs would look like. And maybe here's what your property management fees would be. Maybe you explore this cash offer. This Cash Plus allows you to flip your own home. Maybe we could go in and do some repairs and renovations and get you even more on the open market. Kind of subsidize that shock of going from a 3% to a 7% interest rate. That's what people want. They want you to help them make a good decision. And I believe that we are the guide. I believe that we help them make good decisions. We don't make the decisions for them. We just show them their options and believe that consumers are smart and savvy and will come to the conclusion that's best for them. But how can they do that if we're not giving them the optionality? I found this to be interesting. I'm going to just breeze through this, though. Basically, this shows the gross margin based on the market. And I find it interesting kind of to see where they stand depending on their market. You can see some markets, Opendoor's gross margin is much higher. All right. So buyer buys the home. Buyer uses you to put that home on the open market. And we know that a portion of that seller's equity is still hedged until that home sells on the open market. And I'm going to skin out an actual breakdown here in a moment, but I want to kind of talk about this for a little bit because we get this question a lot. And the question is how do we know that the buyer isn't going to just dump the property? They're not going to fire sale it as soon as it hits the market. And so what I want to share with you, and I'm going to throw this in the chat here, is that we do work with the buyer to come up with a resale marketing plan. And the resale marketing plan sets forth basically all the things that you're going to do as the listing agent. And it also sets forth a price reduction schedule. So I'm going to throw this in the chat for you here so you have it. And then I'm going to also just pull it up real quick and show you what that looks like. Rob says, no, the fees are not too high, but educating the seller what they are is important. Absolutely. Absolutely, Rob. I couldn't agree more. And I think that that's the biggest thing for us is the transparency and having those fees being very transparent. Okay, so that is the resale marketing plan. And if you are on Facebook catching me after this live, I will go into that thread and I will add this there as well. And I've got one more document coming up as well. So if you're on Facebook, I'll make sure to put it in there as well. Okay, I'm pulling this up and I'm hoping I can give you a live look at it. Yay, I think I did it. Okay. So here's that resale marketing plan. Basically talks about the things that as the listing agent, we're going to request that you do. Talks about the strategy for the listing, pretty much all of the things that you would traditionally see in a resale marketing plan. Now, here's what I really wanted to kind of show you is the buyer does outline, and I hope you can see this okay on the Zoom. The buyer does outline a showings-based price reduction schedule, okay? Because see, here's the reality. If a property comes to market and it's not getting hardly any showings, or even if it's getting too many showings but no offers, what do we know as realtors? We know that typically a price adjustment is warranted. And so what this resale marketing plan is going to do is it's going to outline the schedule of price reductions and the amount of a reduction that's potential. And so I think this is really helpful when you're talking with sellers and maybe that question comes up is like, how do we know that the buyer isn't just going to dump the property? Well, we have an agreement, and the agreement sets forth a very reasonable price reduction schedule based on tangible results. So showings. Anyway, I wanted to show you this because I think it's really important and I think it's helpful in just, I guess helpful in letting sellers know that there's a process to this. It's tried and true, and it's not just some unilateral decision made by somebody that reduces the price. No, there's an actual price reduction schedule, and it's based on tangible things. All right, let me see. I got a couple more questions here in the chat. Okay, Bill said, Danielle, it is locked. Bill is locked. Okay, yeah. Let me just go in and open up permissions to that document. I will do that. That way everybody can get in there. And I hope that's not the case with the next doc I'm sharing, but we're gonna take care of that right now. Okay, you should be good to go on that resale marketing plan. All right, moving on from the resale marketing plan. I also wanted you to know that there is a step-by-step explainer for this Cash Plus program. It's a PDF document, and it just goes through exactly all of the steps. And I'm going to share that with you now as well. That way, if you want to take a look at that later, you can. If you are meeting with a homeowner and you want to go in depth with it, you're able to, all the things. And so I'm going to share that with you now. And I'm going to make sure that those permissions are opened up on that one as well. Okay, we should be good to go on that one. And then also I'm just going to live open it up for us and kind of just give you a preview of what's in here. As I mentioned, it's the step-by-step. It goes through exactly what happens. It goes through commissions. It goes through fees. We define the fees, define them, all of that. And we also give you a breakdown here of how the numbers work as well. So feel free to peruse that document and let us know if you have any questions. That's the other thing too, is we're here to help. And even if you don't have a homeowner that is, contemplating taking one of these offers or wanting more information, even if you're just in that discovery phase for yourself, reach out to our offers team. Like, we're here to help. We want to tool you up. We want you to be able to bring forth these offers and options and feel very good about the information that you're relaying. So always feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of how the Cash Plus works and what the numbers look like. Okay, so offer amount is $500,000. There's a 6% service fee. There is a 7.5% resale fee. And in this example, we're going with a 10% holdback. Now, I will say that as the market has become a little bit more volatile, we have seen that holdback amount increase. I would say your typical right now is going to be 15%. And if you're dealing with a price point that is like maybe below 150, it might be a little higher. If you're dealing with a price point that's over 1.2 million, it will definitely be higher. And so we see, for instance, and that's the other beautiful thing about this Cash Plus offer, is it works for a wide variety of properties. And so it's not just your, home that fits in the traditional buy box of a cash buyer. It actually encompasses far more than that. The buyer is willing to purchase more variety of homes, bigger homes, homes on larger lots, and also homes that are over $1 million. So here's how that works, though. On that first payout, that homeowner would get $382,500. Now, keep in mind that 10% holdback is not a fee. It's a hedge. It's not a fee. And so what that means is that after the buyer buys the property, they're going to relist it on the open market with you. And depending on what it sells for will depend on how that holdback is returned to them. And so really, when you think about it, there are only a couple ways this can skin out. So the house sells for the same amount. So let's say the house sells on the open market for the same amount that the buyer purchased it. And that happens to be $500,000. Remember earlier when I said if the offer is too high, it doesn't do your seller any justice? This is why. Because see, here's the thing. If the offer was too high from the get-go and the house sells for what it should have sold for on the open market, then it's going to eat into their holdback. And so this is why we want to nail it. We love it when this happens, because when the house sells for the same amount as that offer amount, the way the holdback is dispersed is so easy. All of it is returned to the homeowner. And so that $50,000 is given back to them. Now, here's the second scenario. Let's say the house sells for less on the open market. And let's say the house sells for $490,000. Well, in this scenario, the difference between the initial cash offer and what the home sells for on the open market will be deducted out of the holdback, and the remaining portion is returned to the homeowner. So in this scenario, if it sold for $10,000 less, then $40,000 would be returned to the homeowner. Now, here's the third way this could skin out. And of course, our favorite. And when it comes to that seller investing in repairs, you're going to see how this can be a very compelling offer. If the house sells for more on the open market, so let's say the house is brought to market and it sells for $510,000. Well, in this scenario, the homeowner would receive all of their holdback returned, plus all of the upside from the open market. And so in that scenario, they would receive $60,000. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Now, how can they ensure that the home sells for the most amount of money on the open market? And that's when we talk about that no out-of-pocket home improvement sale, or flipping their own home, so to speak. Here's how that works. So if the homeowner, maybe let's say it needs carpet, it needs paint, maybe it's a little outdated, maybe it needs a full-on remodel, the buyer will consider the gamut. They'll do a little, they'll do a lot. They'll do whatever they believe, and of course you and the homeowner believes is necessary to make that house sell for the most amount of money on the open market. And obviously all real estate is local, and so you're going to be the guide on what repairs are going to enhance that resale value. But here's how this works. So homeowner accepts the Cash Plus offer, the buyer goes in and they do their inspections. And during that inspection period, they're going to look at the property and they're going to look at the totality of the market. And they're going to come back with a suggestion on repairs. And they're going to say, here's our proposal. Let's say we do carpet, we do paint, and maybe we paint the cabinets. And they're going to provide an estimate of what those repairs would cost. Now, at that point, the seller has a tangible number of what these repairs would cost. And ultimately, keep in mind, the seller's paying for these repairs out of their equity. But the beautiful thing is that if they agree to this strategy, they get to sell their home, get their first payout, move out, and then the buyer goes in and completes those repairs when the property is vacant. If you have ever lived in a home during a remodel, you know that it is not fun, it is not pleasant. And if you're a homeowner and you're considering selling your home and it needs a little bit of work, and you know that if you just brought it up to this standard, it would probably sell for a heck of a lot more and a heck of a lot sooner, you know, you're kind of stuck with, wow, do I make these repairs while I'm living in it? What do I do? And so this is a way that allows them to have a very strategic home sale, flip their own home, and maintain all of the profit. So the buyer doesn't charge extra for this. And so this is, you know, that service fee we talked about, that 6% service fee. Essentially, this homeowner gets to take advantage of somebody else coming in and managing the remodel and dealing with all of the contractors and all of that sometimes unpleasant stuff for a 6% fee in addition to what they would normally pay. And so I think this is one of the biggest no-brainers. If you have a seller who needs any work done to their home, you are doing them an injustice if you don't share with them the Cash Plus offer. It's beautiful. And what we're also seeing is bringing some pretty life-changing profits to those original homeowners. I have a couple before and afters that I love to show. Here's one in Queen Creek, Arizona, and this house was actually on the market. The Zoodealio member had this house on the market. It wasn't selling, and the reason is because it was subpar to all of the homes in the area. It really needed that update. It really needed that facelift, and it was just kind of dingy. So there was the before, did some paint. This one had a new kitchen. This was the before. It was just outdated, very basic, very kind of, not very exciting. And let me ask you this too. Do you think buyers in this market, when they're looking at a 7.5%, don't make me say 8% interest rate? I said it. Ew. Feels so gross. 8% interest rate. Do you think that buyers want to buy houses that need work? No. Buyers are pickier than ever. Affordability is at, I think it's at a 40-year low. It's insane. And when they go and the few buyers that we do have that are still out there looking, when they go and look at houses, what do you think that they're going to prioritize? The house that needs a ton of work or the home that's beautiful and updated? Because look at the difference. There's the difference. The difference is modern, bright, renovated, and it shines. This one turned out so good. I love these before and afters. So as you can see, they do a variety of things. They do new kitchens. They do bathroom remodels. I mean, that bathroom is just so much more inviting than the previous bathroom. And when we can really bring these homes to market looking amazing, shining, I mean, it's just such a difference in what buyers are willing to pay. And this was such a great example because, as I mentioned, the house was sitting on the market at $330,000, no offers. The agent brought their seller a Cash Plus. They took it. They also agreed to a $78,000 remodel. But here's the beautiful thing. This house sold on the open market for $555,000. That is a $225,000 increase. And the profit increase was $147,000. Now, do you think that this homeowner was just ecstatic that their agent not only sold their property, because as I mentioned, it was on the market, it wasn't selling. So this agent sold their property and made them a boatload more money. Do you think that 6% service fee was ever an issue? No. Heck no. They were excited and ecstatic to get this profit increase. They flipped their own home. They got the benefit of that. Now, they had to go out on a limb and they had to trust their agent, right? They had to trust their agent and their agent's market knowledge, and they had to trust that that investment into the home would bring the returns, and it did. And so, beautiful thing. Here's another one in Texas. The repairs on this one weren't quite as extensive, but just some cleanup exterior. Now, this kitchen gets me. It gets me every time I see it. I remember those days. I remember that faux painting. I remember all of that iron. And there has to be a live, laugh, love sign in this house somewhere. I just don't see it yet. But go in, paint, freshen it up. Looks so much better, just night and day. Again, just paint. And I got to give a shout out to the agent on this one. They did virtual staging, and I just think it really made these pictures shine. But as you can see, after it was painted, new carpet, new flooring, it just looked so much better. And bringing a home to market with all of that clutter and outdated stuff, it's just, ew. It's just, you walk through it and you just know what your buyers are thinking. And of course you hold your comments, but you just know what they're thinking, and it's probably not good. And so again, here's another one where the renovations and the repairs on this one just really made this home shine. And when it was brought to market, it sold very quickly. The as-is value was $350,000. The repair cost on this one was a little bit lower. It was only $28,000. And also interesting too, like when you look at the repairs that were done, a lot of these things were like AC work and things like that were probably pretty big issues to buyers if it would have been brought to the market in that condition. And the resale price on this one, it sold for $449,997. That was a value increase of almost just shy, $3 shy of $100,000, and a profit increase of $71,293. So really cool. And as you think about what's possible in the realm of all things possible, this cash offer structure is a game changer. It truly is. And so anyone with a home that just needs a little oomph, I believe in this market, all of them do, to be real, but anyone you'd be doing them a disservice not to share this cash offer structure with them. I did mention the Cash Plus Explainer already, so I think we already took care of that. Just happened to be in my slide deck twice. All right, I'm going to go through quickly, because I know we're almost out of time here, 3 interesting ways you can use the cash offer hook and 3 things you can do this week to really get this message out into the marketplace. So the first way that you can use this cash offer hook is to differentiate yourself. The reality is transaction count is down and realtor count, it leveled a little, but it's not really moved much. So there's a lot of realtors out there. In fact, we have a joke in our market, I'm in the Phoenix market, that you can throw a stone and hit a realtor because we're everywhere, like literally. So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you walk into that seller's home and say like, hey, you should go with me? And I believe that one of the ways you can differentiate yourself is through your cash offer options. And so here's just a little script that I think that if you practice it and you use this line with homeowners, it would probably do really well. And it's true too. That's the beautiful thing about this is most people are curious about the cash offer option and go on to list their home on the open market first. The good news is if you list with me, we can always have the cash offer option to fall back on. How cool is that? It's like by listing with you, they're getting a guarantee that they're going to sell their home one way or another. And I believe this way is so much cooler than those gimmicky guarantees that, are gimmicks. This is not a gimmick. This is actual cash buyer that's willing to step in and perform. You saw the first before and after photos that I showed you. That was actually an offer that was made to a home on the market. And so it was this exact same situation. The agent had a differentiator and they had other options to bring to that seller. Now, the second way that you can use this cash offer is as a hedge. I mean, how beautiful. Not only does it differentiate you, It gives the homeowner a hedge against the open market and whether or not their home is going to sell in the time frame that they're wanting it to sell for. So, hey, Mr. Seller, the good news is when we list your home, we always have the cash plus offer to fall back on if you need to sell faster. So giving them that hedge, giving them that option, I believe really giving them that parachute that they can pull that ripcord at any time that they would like if it's taking too long or they need to move on to their next adventure. And then the third way that I love how you can really use this cash offer option is to uncover their true motivation. Because see, here's what will happen. When you bring them this cash offer and when you have conversations with them about this, you're going to find out what their true hot buttons are. And you're going to uncover their motivation. And what I remember about learning to sell real estate when I first started like decades ago was motivation. You got to find out their motivation. Here's a great way you can do it. Not only can you do it, but you make a value proposition, you deliver on your value proposition, and then you have compelling real estate conversations where you uncover their motivation, their timing, etc. And you can do this with the cash offers. And hey, how would you feel? This is a great question you could ask them. How would you feel about a no out-of-pocket home improvement sale to maximize your equity? I love it. I love that one. All right. We're going to burn through the rest because I really want you out there leading with this cash offer hook, having it be a staple in your business, differentiating yourself from that sea of sameness. So I'm going to go through 3 easy things that you can do this week to really blast out these value propositions into your marketplace. The first is a video. I'm going to give you a short form video script. The second is database. How can you work your database? What are some of the messages that you can send your database? And I'm going to give you that here in a moment. And also Facebook Messenger. All right, so here's a short form video script for you. This is something that I believe you could just grab your phone and you could just record it. I would probably, if it were me, I would use Instagram, I would use Reels, I would make it real short and punchy and try and deliver this as quick as possible. You may have had thoughts of selling your home, but if your mortgage interest rate has a 2 or a 3 in front of it, you could be stuck in what experts are calling golden handcuffs. An interest rate too low to give up, so you stay put. And that might be the best option for you. But there could be other options you may consider, such as keeping your existing home as a rental. If you're curious about your options in this market, I'm here to help. Fill out the short 5-minute home survey on my site to instantly see your home's value, what cash buyers would pay for your home, and explore other creative ways to move. Super short, super simple, but what we know, I showed you all of those Reddit posts, what we know is that a lot of homeowners are having this internal dialogue. And if we can answer the questions that are keeping them up at night, if we can answer the questions that they're already thinking, we are going to be seen as the expert. We're going to be seen as, oh my gosh, it's almost like they're inside my head thinking about what I'm thinking. And so if you were to record this video, I would even run it as an ad. I mean, that is how effective I believe this video is. All right, here is a database follow-up script that you can use. And this was based on some recent data from the Home Price Expectancy Survey where 1 in 4 homeowners are planning on selling their home in the next 3 years. And so I think this is a news report. This is a great database message that you can be sending out to your database. So go into your CRM, compose an email, send it out to all of your homeowners. And it is finally some good news. The inventory crisis has dominated the real estate market for the past 24 months, but things might be changing. Have you had any thoughts of selling? See your home's value and what cash buyers would pay for your home. Complete the 5-minute survey on my site. Super simple. Okay, and the last message that you can take out there and message to Facebook friends. And guys, Facebook Messenger has the second highest open rate of all marketing mediums. Number 1 is the text message, obvi. But number 2 is the Facebook message. So when you Facebook message, you have a 74% chance of that Facebook friend opening that message and reading it. And so take advantage of this. We have a whole strategy of the Facebook A to Z strategy that we have in the Zoodealio backend. So if you're curious about that, check it out. But here is a message that you can just copy paste and send to your Facebook friends. Don't send more than, I'd say, about 15 a day. If you send more than that in one day, you will likely end up in Facebook jail. However, be strategic. Send out, every day, send out messages and watch the replies come back answer those, filter those, be that expert out in your marketplace. Times are tough. Times are different. I get that. I love this quote though. And when I saw it, it gave me goosebumps because people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. And so make taking massive action on a daily basis become a habit for you, and beautiful things will happen. Thank you so much for being here with me today on our offers training. I know you all probably missed Keith. He will be back with you in November. I am so happy though that I got to fill in and be here with you today. Appreciate you. And if you would like the slides, send me a quick email, Kayla, Kala, at zoodealio.com. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday and have a wonderful week.